Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Professor Hank, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about returning pointers from functions. So we'll take a look at how you can do it. We'll take a look at how you can do it safely, and we'll see examples of doing it safely and see an example of doing it unsafely or incorrectly. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So let us assume that you had to write a function that searched a C string for a target character. And if it finds it, it returns the memory address of that target character within the array or null. If we were going to do that, then we would need to have a return type that is a pointer. So we're dealing with an array of characters here because a C string is an array of characters. So instead of returning just a char, we would need to return a character pointer. We'd need to name our function something appropriate, so we'll call it search. And then we would need to be able to pass an array to our function. So we would have a parameter for that, and I'll call this str. And then we would need to have a character parameter to help us with our search, right? So we pass an array of characters and a C string as an argument and a character to search for. So if we're going to do that, then we're going to have to create a pointer to help us with our search. So we'll do something like this. I'll create a local pointer called P, and I'll initialize it with our memory address for our array. So P now points to the first element of the array. Okay, so long as what P is pointing at is not the null terminator, because remember with C strings, null terminator is the last character in the arrays, we're going to compare what P is pointing at with our target. All right, and if they match, go ahead and return the memory address of the element that contains our target character. All right, and if it doesn't, then let's advance our P pointer to the next element. Now, if we get through that entire array, we get through the entire C string, if the loop goes all the way through to where P is actually pointing at the element that has a null terminator in it, then we didn't find what we're looking for. So we'll return null pointer. We'll return null. Okay. So now that our function's written, we can test it. So we'll call our search function and we'll pass it some array, which I'll call name here, and we'll search for T, say. All right. Now we're going to have to put the memory address that's returned by search in a variable that holds a memory address. So we're going to need a pointer. Just PTR for pointer. All right. Now I need to create my array that's going to be storing my C string. So we'll do that. Okay. And we'll use my last name, say. Okay. So now this function is going to search through, go element by element, right? Searching for T. So we can then test the pointer. If it is null pointer, because remember, if it doesn't find it, we're returning null pointer, right? So if pointer is null pointer, then we can say, didn't find it. Sorry, didn't find it. Okay. Otherwise, let's just send that pointer to cout. Now, the way cout works is it takes the memory address of a C string, right? And then from that point, from that first element, from wherever that memory address is pointing to, whatever that memory address is, it just starts printing character by character until it encounters the null terminator. So let's go ahead and test it. Okay. And so you can see there's the Stalica. Now, if I had done a search, let's be thorough in our testing for say X. X is not in my name. So when we test this, that if statement is going to evaluate the true, right? 23. If pointer is equal to null, sorry, I didn't find it. And it didn't find it. So that's one example of how you can return a pointer from a function safely. Let me give you an example of returning a pointer unsafely. All right, so let us go ahead and change this function up a little bit so I can give you that example. And we'll just name this guy foo. All right, so in the function, we'll create a local variable called, I don't know, C. Okay, and I'll initialize it with A. All right, and then I'll create a pointer to C within the function, and I'll initialize it with that local variable's address, and then I'll return my pointer. Okay, now we'll go back inside of main, and I'll create another pointer, call it P, and then we'll initialize it with what foo returns. Okay, now let's take a look at this for a second and understand what's happening. Okay, now recall that local variables, that's what these guys are. They are local variables. They're defined inside function foo. Their scope is function foo. And so long as function foo is executing, then they're alive. Okay, then they are active. But as soon as the foo function stops executing, then these local variables go out of scope. So what does that mean? That means that C no longer exists. And by no longer exists, I mean it's no longer set aside. That memory location is still going to exist and still going to have A, but only until some other function or some other part of your program comes along and reuses that memory. So when we have our foo function return the memory address of what? It's the memory address of C, because C pointer gets returned. It was initialized with the memory address of local variable C. Well, this is going to go away, right? A is in that memory location, but since it's out of scope, it's no longer reliable. It's invalid. Something else can come along and easily replace that A, and I'll show you that here in just a second. So if we were to dereference P right here, okay, you're going to see that A is still there. Okay, just because a function finishes executing doesn't mean the contents of its local variables are gone. It just means that they're not guaranteed to be there in the future. Okay, that memory has been freed up to be reclaimed or reused by something else. So let us say then that I created another function called bar. Okay, and in here I created another local variable, which I'll call Z, and I'll initialize it with an exclamation point, say. Okay, and I call that function right after my foo function gets called. I'll call bar. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and dereference P again, and we'll see if the contents of the memory location that P is pointing at has changed. And as you can see, it has, right? Because what happened was is that when we called bar, that memory location got reused. It got overwritten. The memory location whose address was in P got overwritten as a result of the function bar being called. So a pointer that's pointing off at some random location, you can't guarantee that the value that's in the location it's pointing at, it's still going to be there in the future. And that's what this shows right here. Line 20, after line 20 executes, P is pointing to an invalid memory location. Okay, so this is what you must avoid. This is what you have to do. All right, but let's see an example where our foo function is just fine, where we can return a memory address from it just fine. Let's create our local pointer, C pointer again. We'll use dynamic memory location, okay? And then we'll assign to that new character variable our character. So what happened here? Okay, this is a local variable that's going to go away, right? This is the pointer. It's going to go away once the function finishes executing. But this variable here, this unnamed variable, this dynamically allocated variable, it will remain. It will persist after the foo function finishes executing. So that means that that A is still going to be around after this function finishes executing. Okay, so now I won't change my main. And you'll see that the A persisted. It's still there, even though the bar was called. So bar didn't interfere with that at all. There's one thing, though, that you have to keep in mind. There's one last little detail. And that is, since this is dynamically allocated, we need to delete it. Okay, but where do you delete it? Well, you delete it back in main because P is left with the memory address to this character variable. Okay, so we need to free that memory. So that's what we're going to do right here. Okay, now we're going to delete it from here because the memory address for this character variable was returned from the function and is now being stored here. So where's new char's memory address at? Reliably, it's in P. So that's what we're going to use to delete it. Okay, and so that'll avoid our memory leak. So don't be tempted to do what I see other students do, right? A lot of times students will do something like this. They'll do delete C pointer, right? Because every time you have a new, you have to have a delete, right? So they'll delete it within the function itself. This is wrong, because now what you've done is you have gotten rid of this variable, right? You've kind of done what we did with bar in the previous example. So now you've returned a memory address to an invalid location, similar to what we saw before. Okay, don't do that. Another thing I'll see students do is they'll put the delete here. This statement never executes because you returned from the function before it ever had a chance to execute. And even if it did execute, you'd still have the problem of returning an invalid memory location since you deleted your new character variable. Okay. Okay, so that's going to bring this video to a close. If you're a student of mine, you have questions about any of the topics that were covered in this video, feel free to drop me an email, stop by my office hours, or hit me up on Zoom online. For the rest of you, if you thought the video was useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you thought the video sucked, you got the thumbs down button as well. Consider supporting the channel in various ways. You can subscribe, you can join as a member with additional perks for as little as 99 cents. Leave a comment, whatever. But most of all, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.